my name's Beth Guide. I'm with Vertical Web, and tonight's talk is on keywords. So there has been a very long history with Google and how it goes and what it does and what's important and what's not. And when we talk about keywords, I think what I want to do is I want to go all the way back to the beginning so you understand where the idea came from. And then we can understand how we can utilize keywords moving forward. A lot of SEO companies will say, keywords may not be as relevant as they used to be. I do not think that to be the case at all. What I will say is we're going to execute this a little bit differently than we did in the past, actually a lot of bit differently than we did in the past. But keywords are the fundamental building block of what you need to do. So back in the day, if I go back to the late 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, and I always go when the internet first started, there was search engines, and they were Lycos, Alta Vista, AOL had one, Dogpile had one. There was lots of them, and Yahoo had one, but it was a directory. It was not a traditional search engine. It was, hey, put something in and it gave you a directory listing. So I don't want to get that kind of too confused just quite yet. What they did is they went out, they did a Boolean search. What that means is it took some words, it went and found it in the text of the page, and it returned those as the result. The thing is with something like that is there's not a lot of science that goes behind that. And as a result, we used to do a whole lot of things. This is on the list of what not to do. First of all, you're not going to put in any type of information in the background or in the same color that you're typing in. So if your background is white, you don't go type keywords in white. If you want to rank on being a plumber in Houston and your keyword is plumber in Houston, you don't go type I'm a plumber in Houston 5,000 times into the back of a page. These are things that used to actually work. I think that's how we kind of got away from the idea that keywords matter, because there for the longest time, we used to be able to inundate the system, spam the system, and then the system would turn around and give you a result or produce your page. And it was like the more that you did a bad habit, the worse they are. Fast forward to 2024, we've gone through a whole bunch of bumps and, how they use them, what they use them for, what the density is. And now they're very important, but they're looking for other clues on a page. So it's not just enough anymore to say, mover, Houston, Houston movers. Sometimes you have to put packing on the page as well. So they're not only looking for the keyword, but they're looking for words that are similar. So Google's kind of trying to be smart in how it looks for things. And because it's trying to be smart, it doesn't always come up with the right answer because, it's always still garbage in, garbage out. But I think when you take a topic and you take a website and you look at it, you have to identify what the right keywords are and why they are. And frankly, if you don't know what the keywords are for your website, that's probably the biggest problem that you're going to have. So the first exercise that I like to tell everybody when you're building a website is sit down and find the first 50 words that you think relate to your website, that pop in your head, and that you want to see, that you would think would bring you traffic, okay? And I would encourage you to do that. What I'd like you to do in the scroll is if you can tell me some of your businesses and industries so that I can kind of gear towards that and kind of utilize those as examples. I don't want to just do the web design, web hosting, SEO aspects. I can do it. And if I need to, I'll use that. But I think it's a little more practical if I take some of you guys out of the scroll and utilize you to do that. Home healthcare is a good one. Let's see what other ones we can come up with. Mastectomy boutique. Medication reminder application. Okay, so far we're kind of doing medicine tonight. What else we got? Physical therapy and fitness. Mortgage companies. Okay, for right now, what I'm doing, yes, we do websites for everybody. For what I'm doing right now is I want you to kind of give me some ideas of what you have so that we can talk through this. So, and I may even need a piece of paper to do this. I don't usually need paper to write notes on, but this one I may actually need to do. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I'm gonna address the person the first person in that says home health care. What I want you to give me is 10 words that you think somebody would put in Google to find your website. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm not going to tell you what my answer are. Okay. And if we can do that, and actually, if each of you that have answered want to go ahead and put in a block, do them in blocks for me in chunks. Don't go put them in one at a time because that will make my life in incapable of trying to figure out what to do here. But okay, so yeah, so you try to bunch them all up. Okay. All right. So you got home health care agency. Okay, what else we think we've got? I mean, I want each of you, I don't want you to do it right now, but I want each of you to come up with 50 words because every one of you should have 50 words to do this with. And that goes with it, whatever business you are. And I want to give you an example of something I think is probably why I'm doing it starting here. When I started my company, my original company's name was ACTWD, and we did web design first. And then we quickly learned that we needed to be a web hosting company. So what we did is we registered a website that was called ACTWD Site Hosting because we thought what we did was website hosting, and we just said site hosting works better. Optimized everything for the word site hosting, except the whole rest of the world calls it web hosting. Because they call it web hosting, when we had site hosting, we get 7 new customers a week. When we got and changed it to web hosting and optimized for web hosting, we got 20 to 30 new people a day. So it was a dynamic game changer just simply by picking the right word. All right. So, all right. The person that is telling me diverse communities, hidden places, and sightseeing, are you a travel agent? I'm going to guess that's what you are. And then we got home health agency, caregiver, nurse. All right, so that's my home health service. All right, and then we got this Ronald, and he says he's a life coach, motivation. What do you want to change? And what is stopping you? Okay, anybody else want to weigh in here? Karen, I need you to confirm that Sightseeing and Hidden Places is a travel agency and we don't have, I started a tour company. Okay. All right, so for the eyelash one, we've got Beauty Meets Eye Health Lash Services and offers incredible. Okay, that's your slogan. I need keywords that are attached to that. Okay, so let me share my screen here. And I'm going to tell you guys right out of the box, I am not using the Q&A, and I'm not even looking at it. So if you put your stuff in Q&A, I'm not gonna see it. All right. So I just want to be fully transparent because I just don't have eyes in the back of my head to do that. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to go to Google, and we're gonna start with Google. Okay, so the first thing I think everybody should do is go to a website that's called Keywords Everywhere. All right, so I'm going to put that in Google so we can see that. And you can pick Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, and it will install a little plugin for your browser that will help you infinitely. It will also help you across multiple websites. And the reason I say that is because your competitor sites sometimes are just as important as your own site is. So you have to go to competitor sites sometimes just to find out what maybe you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. I always think that's another good way to get to where we're going. So I'm going to take this home health person, okay? And the first person, and that's actually good. The medication reminder app, you actually have some good keywords there. But hang on a minute, let's do this for one first. So I'm going to do home health care. And I think you forgot a very important word, okay, which is Houston, okay? Because you're not doing home health care in Tomball, Huntsville, Liberty. You're doing it in Houston. You may be doing it in those other places because I don't really know where you're from, but I'm going to assume that because we're in a Houston class, you're from Houston. So I'm going to put home health care and I'm going to put the word Houston so I get a really good cross section of what I'm looking at, okay? So it gives me home health agencies, okay? Now you gave me home health care agencies. Where I'm reading is I'm reading the title tags of what's here. I'm not going to read what is in the ad area. I'm going to read what's here in this area, okay? All right, see, you did a good job. There we go. We're starting to get into this. Here's my list of 50 keywords, and they're all the ones very, very good. You're off to a great start. So far, my friend Jeff has kind of done a pretty good job too. Although you're doing training for those things, I think. I don't think the second one is actually accounting services, but I'll save that for a different section. Okay, so my first one says home health agencies. I'm going to come down. I'm going to come in-home health care. Well, that wasn't something they gave us before, right? In-home health care. All right, home health, Memorial Herman went right to the core and went to home health care, Houston healthcare at home. That's another good one. Houston in-home health, yes. Home health care in Houston. Now, when I do this in Excel. And the reason I do this in Excel is because I think it's easier to par it all down and utilize it all. Okay, so let me see, where's my... All right, so a few things to notice on this. Hey, why is it not giving me an answer? Watch, it's not going to give me an answer because I need it to. There we go. I'm going to see, I'm going to use Edge to do it because it's working a little bit better. One second, I just got to get the right window open for you. Here we go. All right, let me get the Edge window open here. You know, I'm kind of surprised. I actually am starting to like Microsoft Edge, and I didn't think I would, but I kind of am getting there. It's a little more stable at times than whatchamacallit is. Chrome. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to look at is that I'm going to see that the volume on home health care is 74,000. Okay, and this is coming out of my keywords every for some reason it's showing in purple like this, so it's a little bit harder to see than it typically would be. But if you can see that and hang with that, you'll see it says 74,000, and the cost per click on that is $225. So if I was going to buy a position to rank on home health care, it would cost me $2.35 to click through to do that. In addition, it also tells me that that is not, well, I think it is. It's showing, it's like a highly competitive word, although it's showing like a lower number than what I would want it to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look on the right side of our screen, and we're going to look, and it says, what are the related searches? So Keyword Everywhere is going to start to tell me what the related searches are. And you can see that here in a box here. So I have those here, and I'm going to jot them down because we're going to have to proof out all of these. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and it's going to give me related long tail words, and it's going to tell me how many searches are there for it. I'm going to tell you that I would be looking at anything above, I'd say 500, but I'm going to say just kind of start to look at them and see. Because home health care near me at 110 is actually a really good word. It's just that it pins you into a very small area. But if you look, we've got home health care services. We have home health care agencies. And again, I want you to write these words down. Okay, so we've got services. We've got agencies, 33,000. We have home health care agency near me, 27,000. And one thing I'll tell you is it looking to me like agency and agencies is more powerful in multiple iterations of it. That the services word is 60,000 on its own, but these two guys together are also, so I would say agency is something, agency and services are both something to put there. Now, you as the person that I asked about this gave me the word agency first. So I'm gonna say that you kind of were on the right path. I have services first. So because of that, and you notice when I did my initial search, I did not put the word service or agency in there because I wanted to see what it gave me. The other thing I'm looking at is the drop down that says home health near me or services in Crosby Highlands. It's because I'm sitting in Kingwood right now, so it's giving me places that are around here, which I don't know why it's not giving me Humboldt Kingwood, but we'll save that for a different discussion. Excuse me. I think it's my IP address that it must be kind of coming out of there, so that's why they're giving me that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a massive list out of all of these, right? I'm going to come down, I'm going to pull the long tail words, I'm going to pull the related words, and I am going to make a list of all these words. Because when I set my website up, I need to use these words. So I need to know what words I'm using. Okay. So if you don't know what words you're supposed to be using, you're pretty much in big trouble, because if you don't use these words, and I'll kind of show you how this will work in the opposite direction in a minute. If you don't use these words, what's going to happen is Google is not going to rank your website. Now, what I will say to you, this is Bing. So let me go back over to Google. Let me go here. And let's do home health. Those numbers I gave you should not change, okay? You'll notice it's still 74, 235. I'm going to tell it to allow my area. Allow my area. Okay. And you'll see I have my Google map here. I have answers again below it. The reason I'm looking at the organic answers and not the sponsored answers. So if I kind of come down here, okay, you'll see it says home health care, finding a home care agency, health services, home health services rather, home and hospice care. Now that's the first time we saw hospice. Do you do hospice would be a question that I would have for you. So if you can just answer that in the scroll, I'd appreciate that. We've got primary home health care. We've got home health care and how does it work? I'm reading the title tags because they're going to start to give me some ideas. And then I'm going to look over here and I'm going to look in my people also searched for area and my data area and my data trends area. And I'm going to see about coming up with what Google, what people are also looking for so that I understand what I need to do to get this page to rank. Okay, so I know I need home health services. I know I need home health care agency. I know that I need, now we didn't put in home, so they're treating that differently. Healthcare services near me, we need. This is an interesting one. Home health care, Medicare. And what they're looking for is what services except Medicare for home health care. And you'll see that's a pretty high number because it's 1,900 people and $1.78 on the search. So what I'm going to say to you is that that's a pretty good one. And it is not super competitive. So for it's pretty much in the middle of the road. So I would pick that. Okay. I would dump all of these output to a spreadsheet. And if you look at the top of keywords everywhere, somewhere there is a organic exporter. Okay. So I am making a list of every word I have, and I'm going to put a volume percentage next to it. Okay. So I know how many people are searching for the word. The more somebody's searching for the word, the more competitive the word is. The more competitive the word is, the harder it is for you to rank, and so on down the pike. All right. So there's going to be some easy ones. There's going to be some difficult ones. So we're going to need to pick back and forth which ones we want. And we're going to make a humongous list of all of these items. Okay. So is everybody, can you guys give me a thumbs up or say if everybody's with me so I know that we're all kind of tracking what I'm saying before I go to the next keyword that I'm going to look at on this home health care? Okay, so I got somebody raised their hand. Yes, yes, yes is fine too. If I can get a bunch of yeses, all right, good. Okay, so everybody's with. All right, so we're with me so far. So I have so far proofed out her first two keywords, which are home health care services and home health care agency. But now what I need to do is take in-home health and do the same situation. So I'm going to do in-home health. And I'm not going to put the word care on it because I want to make sure I'm kind of going broad. Okay, so I want to see what it's going to give me on this, which it's not giving me a great answer for some reason. Here it all comes. Okay, so what I did first of all is I omitted the care, and I did so because I wanted to see what showed up. Okay. What's interesting is I only have 390 key searches for in-home healthcare. So it's not a very popular word. It's not to be overlooked, but it's nowheres of the 50 and 60 and 70,000 that the healthcare services and healthcare agencies were that we just looked up. But I'm not going to throw this fish back in the pond because it's a 390 word search. So when I look at this, just so I want you guys to understand what you're looking at a little bit, that volume is how much searching is everyone doing? How many searches a month is there on any given set of words? Okay. And that's the things that we need to know as we move forward. All right. If I look at this one jumps out at me, right? It's senior caregiving, 33,000. That belongs on my list. And here's my export button, by the way. All right. Home health care El Paso has nothing to do with me because we're in Houston. Okay. What is home care nursing? Okay. Now she gave me the word nurse. I think what we're wanting to look for is just the word nurse by itself. But you literally are going to take all the 50 words that you gave me and you are going to proof down a page of what these words are and make a master list. Okay. And every business should have a master list of 50 words. And I'm saying 50 because the more, like if you were an e-commerce site and had 2,500 products and, you had, 50 to 80 categories, then I would say our list would be much wider. But I'm going to assume that most of you are small business and small business owners. So because that's who you are, I'm not going to push to go out and get these huge things. I'm going to just keep them kind of to a limit of 50. Okay. So each and every one of you should go in and be able to produce a list of 50 keywords with their searches, their search volume, and their competition. So, and if you want me to check them, you're more than welcome to email me. I'll be happy to do that and look them over. But that is step number one. Okay. Now we understand what we're supposed to be doing. The next thing that we're going to do is I am going to go back to my home health care services. And I have a tool on the side of my browser that I'm going to turn on with a little bit of luck. Okay, I did. I turned it on, so we're good. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go to the person that's in the number one position for home health care service, Houston. And I'm putting the word Houston in because I don't want home instead and all the natural things. No, we're not going to email the recordings to you, but I will have it and it will go on our website. It'll go up there. It's under the classes. It also goes on our YouTube channel. So we'll have that. And the other thing that I've been doing, because some people don't have 2 full hours to just listen to me, I've been sticking it out on our TikTok channel. So I would appreciate, and I guess that's a thing. If you want to know when the classes are and what the topics are, I have an online sign up on our website that you can go to and add yourself to the mailing list. And then I will send you a calendar once a month. We only send calendars and reminders. We don't send anything else. It's not really a marketing list in that way. It's just a class list. The next thing is like or what am I trying to say? Like or subscribe to the YouTube or TikTok channel. And that'll kind of send you a reminder of when I add something or something along those lines. So we've got a couple different things to do because I know there's a lot here. And I mean, I kind of know myself when I look at stuff, what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for. Overall, the whole thing is on a scale of 1 to 100. It's right down the middle on page difficulty. It's also right down the middle on off page difficulty. So that means it's hard to. Oh yeah, I can do that. You can just copy me at Beth at verticalweb.com, and verticalweb.com is the website. If you follow the class link, Everything is there. I actually partly have the YouTube channel plugged in there, and I have the TikTok channel plugged in there. So the class page on Vertical Web is really a one-stop shop for everything. The other way you can do it is go to the Internet Marketing Clinic, Houston.com. Okay, either one of there will get you to the class information pages. Okay, so that should help you. But yeah, like or follow or share if you're happy with any of this and what we're doing here. I mean, we have probably on average now probably about 4,000 people running around that get the newsletter and that are on the mail list, that come in and out of these classes, that watch it on the internet, they sign up for subscribe for the podcast. We've got a lot of moving parts on things. So what I'm going to do, or what I'm doing here, all right, I'm going to remind everybody not to use the Q&A because I just can't get to it. What does this say? How can I get into the version of Google with all the search? Oh, with what I gave you, it's keywords everywhere. That's let me put that down here in the scroll again. He's asking, we had somebody in the Q&A ask how I got all that information built into Google, keywords everywhere. And that will do that for you. That's what I do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top couple pages here, not these up here because they're Google local and they're scored differently, but I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take a look. Now I know this is HCA. The very first thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to say, hey, how many keywords is this website ranked on? This tool is called SERPworks. I use it every day. It is probably one of the most powerful tools that we have because it gives you a bunch of insights really in one whole spot for me. So like I can look at here and I can say that HGA is ranked on 87,000 keywords. But I really just want to concentrate on this page because this page is the one that's relevant. I'm sure out of 85,000 keywords, we have everything from emergency room to oncology to, what do you call it? Having a baby, obstetrics. All right, it says, if you add info to the chat, I cannot see it. Am I the only person? Oh, you can't see it because I have it set the wrong way. Hold on, let me do it again. Beth at verticalweb.com. Web address is verticalweb.com. And that's how you'll find YouTube and TikTok is searching vertical web. And then the direct link for the class is Internet Marketing Clinic Houston.com. All right. So, and just so you know, I did a little false advertising. So for TikTok, I've been calling it the Internet Marketing Minute. Trust me, nothing I do ever comes out to be just a minute. It's just not a thing. So, and anybody that knows me knows that we have like long talks here. So even though I say it's a minute, you might get a 10-minute video on something. So there is that small little problem running around in all of this. What I'm looking for on this here is somebody like HGA, they're huge. I want to see what they're using and where they're using it. So I see them using home health agencies in their title tag. I see them using home health agencies on the first piece of their website. I see them I don't see them using it again. They start to launch into other things. So they haven't really gone crazy with home health agency, but they do have it and they are number one. The reason they're number one is because if you look at their SERPworks panel, and let me pull that up again. Let's see if it'll load it this time. I also have, and these are the things you got to kind of look at so you can, they also have 700,000 links to the website. So they probably could put Nike's and Nike's page on this page and talk about how to run in the Olympics. And as long as they have home healthcare agency somewhere, the page will probably rank. Because links help skew what's on page. You guys aren't going to have to worry about it too much because you don't have that level of a link profile. So we're way more on the on-site program. And when I say links, I mean things that are external that are linking to your website. I don't mean things that you're linking to. Okay, just so we understand what I mean when I use the word links. Okay. All right, so I'm kind of going through this Houston healthcare situation. I see this. I look over here. I see that I've got a couple links to this page. I see that I have 85,000 keywords. This thing is pretty dialed in, and I know I can't compete with them. They're not on par with me, so I'm going to kind of go back to Google and I'm going to throw them away. The next one I'm going to say is accessible home care. And I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to say, okay, so now this one has compassionate in-home care services for the greater Houston area. So it's using our words. It's not using them in the same order. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, how many links do we have involved? Well, this page here has 52 links to it. So that immediately tells me throw this one out, that although it has home health care agency and some of the words we're looking for, this one's a little bit more intense. But what you'll notice is it's starting to get a little denser on the amount of words and verbiage on the page. And if we started to read the words and verbiage on this page, it says accessible healthcare for Houston. And let's do this. I can say find on this page, right? And when I do that, it brings up a box, and I'm going to say home health care. And it's going to tell me that home health care is on this page 20 times. All right. The other thing I want to look at is how big the page is. Okay. So this page is 1,800 words. There's a thing out there that's called a keyword density. And what the keyword density is it tells you how many times a word should appear for Google. It's like a math problem, right? So it's kind of a little bit backwards. All right. So if I have 1,800 words and it appears 20 times, that's about, it's a little less than 1%, right? It's a little more than 1%. Sometimes I have to use a calculator, which I shouldn't have to because it's 1%, but still. Hang on, let me get the calculator out. So what I'm taking is the page count, the word count on the page, which is 1,800. And I am dividing it by the 20 keywords that are there. So yeah, it's a little less than 1%. And that's the right amount for any situation, I think. I think keywords, you don't want to ever say a keyword on a page more than 1% at a time. Pages can have multiple keywords, okay? So I don't want you to think you're just going to be one page, one keyword, because you'd never really want to create that situation and scenario. I'll show you here in a minute what that all looks like. And I've got pages that rank on a couple hundred keywords. Because we planned it to do that. Like our homepage is there. I will have it on my website in a little bit. Okay. We'll put it up once I get the download from Score. We'll go ahead and put it up on the website. So it goes YouTube. So just so you know where it is, it's running through YouTube. So you can do it through YouTube as well. All right. So, okay, I have my keywords. I kind of know what they're doing. I kind of know how to pick them. I'm going to add a very complex layer to this now. So now I really want you to hang with me because this is where it gets crazy remember I told you in 1997, it was pretty, put the word in, type it on the page so many times. And then you too shall be number one. Now it's got a whole element of semantic search to it. Okay. So keywords are looking not only for the word itself, but what words are around it. So if you remember a few months ago, we had Google's leaks and they kind of came out and they told everybody, you know, hey, this is what happened. Google didn't, but somebody found it. There's 14,000 elements that a page ranks on. And one of the things that's in there is this interrelation of words and keywords. So when I look at this page, and I know why they did it, because they've got this whole Alzheimer's, dementia, memory loss, memory loss care rather. It should just say memory care, not memory loss care, because the right term is memory care. They're putting words that you would expect to see attached to home health care. So dementia, memory loss, in-home, post-operative care. They're things that we need to see. And then you see they have Tomball to Sugarland. I would not have approached it that way. I would have just said for seniors living in Houston, Sugarland, Tomball, Katy, Cypress. And I might have been more apt to break them out than doing that, because Google doesn't know from Thailand to Tomball to Sugarland. They don't know what's between those two spaces. They don't know it's going to take you 2 hours to get from Tomball to Sugarland. They know nothing. They only know what you tell them. So because they're only knowing what they're telling them, I would fix that one. All right, but I've got, and you see where I want to point before I walk away. We have home health care here. You see it's up here in the top. If you're a smaller company, I would make sure I put the word services or agency up there, but I've got it there. Got it here. It's highlighting it, excuse me, all the way down the page to make sure that it knows that it's there. Okay, and you can see it all the way down the page. And what else you should notice is where they have it positioned. They have it in the headers, they have it in the subheaders, and they have it in the text of the text, and all of them are equally as important. I didn't say they're weighted, but you need to make sure that you have those words there. Okay. But now we're going to get a little bit more fancy. Okay. Because there's related words that need to be there. So some of the changes that Google made, and I'm going to have to go to Safari to do this. So you'll have to excuse me a minute. Let me do that. Let me say a new window. And now let me share the new Safari window. Okay. So I have my new Safari window. And I have a tool that I use. And what we're using it for and what I'm going to use it for, does have some cost to it. So I'm not necessarily saying you all need to sign up for this, but I want you to see how the underbelly of the internet actually works. So I've got home health care, and I'm going to go with services because I think that's the better way to go. I'm not going to put Houston on this at first, and I'm not going to put a web address in. Okay, I'm going to hit submit. Would you do me a favor, the person whose home health care site this is, could you please put the URL in the scroll for me? Because I am going to want to put one against the other here. Otherwise, I'll have to use a different website. So it's going to think here for a minute, and it's going to pull us up a whole lot of data on some things that we need to consider when we put together a page, because what Google changed, and one of the things that they changed with this is they look up against other websites. So you're going to look at the first 10 websites on a term, and it's going to tell you the characteristics and what you need to put in your page. Okay. And that may not make a lot of sense to you right now, but what they're doing is they're talking about how words are, how they're positioned, and how the competition has them positioned up against each other. Okay. So that's a really important thing that I'm telling you about here. Okay. So the first thing I want you to notice here, I lost my window. Hang on a minute. You might not see it, but I still see it, but I don't. All right. So my very first thing that I notice here is that when I write a page on home health care services, that page needs to be about 1,200 words. What it did was take the top 10 sites average them, and come up with the average word count on the page. That's important. This keyword thing we're talking about is ultimately a math problem, okay? The next thing it looks at is how many times, guys, I really need you not to use the Q&A. I can't turn it off, but it just put it in the chat, okay? Because it just popped up again. It keeps popping up over the top of my screen. Okay, so I get the word count. The next thing it tells me is how many times the keyword, which is home healthcare services, appears in big type on a page in what's called an H1 tag. We have talked multiple times about structure in this class, and I'll talk about it again. But those are headline tags, and you may see it says H1 to H6. This is how many times those are on each of these top ranking pages, okay? So most of the top ranking pages, even though the right word answer is you should only have it there one time, most of these websites that are ranked 1 through 10 have it 3 times. There is supposed to be 8 headers on your page, 8 H2 headers, 8 H3 headers, okay? The reason you need to know that is when you sit down to write the page or you sit down to correct your page, when you have this information, it's telling you what the average of the top 10 is so that you can emulate it, okay? If you don't emulate it, you can't just outdo it. And then the other thing it's telling you is how many times the keyword is used throughout the page, okay? And I'm going to stay with this home healthcare services just for a second. All right. The next thing this is, all these red words are all the words that you need to have in that page that you put up. So I need home, health, care. We know that. Services, home care services without the health involved. I have nursing care, which was one of the suggested keywords you guys gave me. I've got Medicare, which was one of the ones that I told you should be there, if it's not. Okay, I have home health aides, I have questions, I have caregivers, I have family, I have lives, I have comfort. So I have a whole bunch of things here. The next thing I do, so I know I need to include these words. The next one I need to make sure I know is, what are the words that they consider are highly related, that Google considers when they see them, that those words are way more related than any other word out there? And that would be nursing assistants, therapy support, elderly patients, caregivers. You can read them yourself, I think, across the screen there. And they make sense. They absolutely make sense. And then here's the core words that you should have. So you can't not say these things: care, home health care. Those words need to be present, and they need to be present and presented multiple times. Okay. And it's kind of telling you sort of not how many times, but that you should have it there. I understand that this sounds like a lot, but this is what you have to do to feed the math on every page, okay? So you have to be really, really, really crafty to get all these terms. So what I do when I sit down and I write a page, I sit down and I write the page, and then I write these things into it. Excuse me. I don't write the page with the assumption that I'm going to have these in it. Like as I'm writing, I write it first, and then I come here and see what I'm missing. Okay. I don't see that you guys gave me your address yet of the page that we're talking about. Okay, and I kind of really need that so we can score one to the other. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to jump to web hosting and use my own page. The next thing it does, and this is something that really, really is really, really, really important, okay, is Google classifies and categorizes every page that it has, okay? It is not a public directory that you can see. There's an API key into it, which is what this is hooked up to use, all right? And you can see that it's giving you It's multiple different pages. Now, what jumps out at me, because I purposely left the word Houston off of this. Okay, thank you. That's what I needed. What else jumps at me is the word Houston is missing off of this. So to me, that's something that I need to go back now and I need to go see and add the word Houston into it. And I am going to do that. And then I want to see what the changes are when I do that. So we'll give it a second, let it fetch the words. What we're trying to do is get the right mathematical dial it in to match what our competitors are doing. Because when you do that and you have link credit behind you, it automatically starts to push you up to the top. I think there's a lot of extra words that you'll pick up. There are going to be long tail searches, but I think you're going to have these ones that are going to be your main ones. So remember the one I told you, the New York one was 1150. This one's 1618. So your bar just went way up on this. You need another 600, 700 words on this thing. 600 words, I guess. Okay. And you'll notice there's a slight change that we didn't see in other, and by the way, just to freak you out a little bit more, this is the full list. So Houston is an actual word, care is there, needs is there, service is there, patient is there. They all make sense. Loved one is there. Professional, and then where the heck is home? Oh, here's home care here. So these are all the words now. So what I would do is I'd come in and I would write my page. Okay. And then what I'd do is I would come here and let me see if I can get this pasted in right at healthcareservices.com. I'm going to do it up against my own website. Okay. And we're going to see what it answers us back using our own website. Because that's where this starts to get interesting. Is everybody with me so far? Did I put anybody to sleep or am I losing anybody? Because this is a little bit of a nerdy kind of a topic, but I think it's something that we all need to do. All right. What I don't see is any green here on this page. So I'm now wondering why I see no green. See no green. Maybe I typed something wrong. Let me make sure we've got the URL right. Yeah, and I try to give you guys the most amount of information you can so you can listen to this about 4 times and then figure out what the heck I'm actually talking about. I'm glad you don't fall asleep because to me, some of you drive around in the car listening to me, which kind of scares me because I'd be like sound asleep if I had to listen to me on a regular basis. All right, hold on a second. So this time this did come up. Okay. I think it's because it made it HTTP. So let me do HTTPS and see what it does. All right, so I put your domain in. And I have it looking at it. I hope everybody here is getting this. I'm kind of using this one because it was the first one that popped up. But we can do this for anybody if I can get through everything and we have some extra time. I can run any of y'all's websites through this once we get the right keyword for them. So we can look at them on the screen. Yeah, so we have no green words on this whatsoever. All right, so we got a lot of missing. Why is it not giving me a comparison? Because it was unable to process the URL because it has a space in it. That's why. Let's try again. We'll get there eventually. Autocorrect. Siri is our best friend and our worst nemesis all at the same time, if you ask me. Okay. No, it does not like this website address. Why doesn't it like this website address? Because it's spelt wrong? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I copied it off of here. Let me try again. No, there's something wrong with this website. I'm kind of worried that it's doing this because it normally doesn't. I'm copying it right out of the web address in the bar. What it's doing is splitting healthcare and services, so that's kind of why it looks funky, but it shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to give it one last chance here. Because I want you to see it lights it up like a Christmas tree when you have your own. Nope. It doesn't like your URL for some reason, and I just don't know that I really know why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to Houston SEO, which is my biggest keyword for my site. And I'm going to go HTTPS, www.verticalweb.com. And I'm going to let it pull it. And I know it's not right because I haven't done it in a while. No, I know there's no space. I'm pasting it with no space. I promise you there's no space in it. I'm literally cutting it out of this address bar and putting it in. So I don't know why it's saying it can't find it, but it's just it's giving us heck, and I'm not gonna. Anybody else want to give me a domain? Let's see. Here's the one for the medical reminder app. We'll do that. And what do you want to use the keyword when you look up the medical reminder app? Go ahead and give that to me if you can, please. And I'll use that. That way we're spreading it around a little bit too. Yeah, see, it pulled mine up. So what it's done for me now for my own, this is where my page is. Right now I have 1,900 words on my keyword on my homepage. I need 3,504. So I am about 1,000, 1,500 words short on my homepage. So I'm going to need to come up with something else to blather on that homepage so that I can get that word count up to get it in the right ballpark. The other thing is, even though it's short on words, it's a little bit over optimized for Houston SEO. So it's a little bit off. So I'm going to have to pull these back into the right ranges and get this because my relevance score is way off. Like I said, this is really a good thing because my relevance score is off. My word count is off. My density is off. And it's mostly just because I had put this up and it was ranking and I get leads every day and I haven't gone back and fixed it and we're okay. So, I probably need to go back and fix it. But if you notice what it did is it took the most important words. Come back here. When I put my mouse over it, it tells me about that word, right? So it tells me that that the pages that are attached to it, they have 83. I only have 47. So I'm going to need to look at that. It tells me about the word team and what I'm doing on that on each and every one of these. We're not doing a Shopify website, and I'm going to tell you why. Because a Shopify website is not going to work right. And because it's not going to work right, you could do all of this and then some, and you got your back against the wall just because of Shopify itself. The other thing is that's not your own URL. So that's another reason that it's not going to work right either. You need your own URL for that, not for a Shopify website. All right. You notice that I need to put the word strategy in there. I've only got it one time. The others people have it 10. In fact, frankly, they're giving me enough word ideas that I probably could come up with another 3,000 words here on all of this. Okay. SEO services. But if you get the general idea, these are the words that are missing out of my website that are causing me to be far less relevant than the people that are in the first spot. When I come down to highly related words, I am missing the word performance, audit, and conversion. Okay. Oh, and analytics. You know, I don't know what's wrong with it, but if you want to tomorrow, after we're not doing this with a class, let me see what I can come up with, what with it and what's happening with it. If you want to just reach out to me tomorrow afternoon, we can do that. I'm out of the office probably until after 1:30 tomorrow, so I'm out of pocket. So it'll be pointless to call me before that because I'm not going to be, I've got 2 pretty large appointments tomorrow. Okay, the other thing you'll notice is that I have my keywords, my core words. What I'm missing is agency. I'm missing Houston SEO expert, experts with an S. I have it expert without an S. And then I also have team. And you know, Houston SEO team seems to be something that I should have there that I don't. Okay. The next thing I have here is the rankings of the 1, 2, 3, and 4 on what they have on the headlines and how valid their headlines are. Okay. And where we stand up against the headlines, how many words we have in them, what our words look like, what's going on. Okay. How many of these related things do I have together? It also talks about image score. I don't generally put stuff on my images because I think that by the time you're done worrying about images, you're so far down the road that it's a whole different thing. What I will say is that on SEO, the images, it's a more competitive thing, so I probably should put it in. Next, we have the whole variation area. How many different times do I say it? You notice I'm missing Houston's with an apostrophe and Houston's SEO with an apostrophe. This is where I'm over optimized. I'm over optimized on web design. I'm over optimized on web hosting, and I'm over optimized on digital marketing. What's interesting is that it's saying that because most SEO companies don't have web design on their page, so they're going to throw that all out. Now, what I want to come back to here is this with the relevancy score of stuff, okay, and the page classification. If you notice, every one of these is ranked in 2 places. One is a business-to-business service, and one is a web service. And we also we're off on the business. In fact, frankly, we're off on both of them. So I'm going to have to fix them and get that fixed. All right. I'm not comparing sites. You cannot do a head-up comparison. I'm glad you said that because you cannot literally take the first site and the second site and put them together. It is an average of the top 10 sites. So the reason you can't do a head-to-head competition like that is because there's other outside factors like links and stuff. So by taking the top 10, it dilutes some of those other factors. So yeah, never do this on a head-to-head basis. All right. So you see, I think I'm a little bit off on the categories too. So I have to come back here and figure out where my page classifications are off and the specific category pages that are off. And if you look, you see they're talking about platforms and revenue and information and audience and people. There's a lot of things that I'm missing here that I may or may not want to incorporate. Okay. It tells me what I'm missing 100%. And then it tells me the words that I've used, but I haven't used them in a way that Google's picking them up properly. So I need to go back and I need to look at them like content and company and results and strategies. There's words that I need to go back and I need to look at. The reason why is because this becomes a soup of these words and how they're connected, how they react to each other, and what they're onto each other. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say speed. They're going to look at speed and R's against what's the fastest, what's the slow. Why is it saying this is mine? That's not mine. All right. And then it gives you where everything is. It's giving you speed information on each of them. I'm here to tell you that page load speed is back. The core vitals are back. It's starting to make a difference again on this stuff. So you notice that we do okay here on our visibility, on our accessibility, on our practices, and on our SEO. So we're doing okay across the board. And then I have this whole nice little chart that tells me what each of my competitors have, what I don't have, what the relevant words are, where we are. You see that they'll give you the top most important times. You see it 3 times, 1 time not found. I have very few not founds, if you notice that. I only really have 1 not found, which is on analytics, because I didn't put the analytics on my homepage. And then what it does is this, and I think this is one of the most beautiful things you can have, which is, and I'm going to show you a different way to pull this information out in just a second here. It gives me what I should have in the way of topics and what topics I should cover. Okay. On-page SEO, off-page SEO, technical SEO, content marketing, hiring an SEO expert. These are all the topics that my competitors have, whether I have it or not. Okay. So it's telling me what I should have in my pages. Now, if you come back and you come over to our site, what you'll see is I have a lot of those words here. I actually have them here and in the page. And then the other places I have them is once I get into the SEO services page, I have them as well. What I will tell you is that the home page is different than the internal page. And because of the 3 web hosting is interesting because it's 3 distinct businesses under one roof. And we put this website back together on purpose because it was getting a little bit tedious to have multiple web pages. You see how I took just the home page? This one actually should be a little bit better because this page is written for SEO, whereas the home page is written for everything. So let's see if it actually scores a little better or a little worse. But if you look at those words I'm telling you should have been there, the words that should have been there are actually inside this page if we look at it. So if you kind of start to look down it, there's your Houston SEO, there's the word company. You start to come down here, we've got link building, content creation, technical. And then we have all the on-page SEO, local SEO, technical SEO, link building. We have all the things that was saying that we were missing. They live on this page. So that tells me I need to take my search, need to come over to this page, and I need to take some time and go over this page and see, let's see what it comes up. And it may come up a little bit better, to be honest with you. Okay, so this page is 2,500. I still need 3,500, but this one at least is only 1,000 words short. It starts to be a little bit better on relevance. I'm not off as far, and you notice I have a whole lot more green and a whole lot less red. Even now, when I expand it, there's more words here than that I should be able to write in, but now I only need to write 1,000 words in, so it should get a little bit easier for me. You notice that we have a whole lot less red over here on the related terms. I'm only off 1 word on the core terms. The headline scan is way more on point. It's just that we're not as relevant as that they would want us to be. So I need to add a few more of those red words in it. Still no images because I'm not really, I've never jumped up and down for images, to be honest with you. I'm probably one of those people that say, ha, you're not an expert because you don't do it. I always feel like if I have to get all the way down into the image tags, then I have other fundamental problems, to be honest with you. So that's why I don't look at it too much. you'll see that I have the Houston SEO they're saying is a little too over optimized, as is the SEO classes. And then when I come down here, you can see I'm way more close because this page was designed for SEO Houston and Houston SEO. I am way closer to the people that are in the top 10, and I have the right category. So I have business services and I have web services, and every one of these are business services and web services. So I have this page is in great shape for a categories situation. And if I wanted to, I may be able to tighten that up some by just writing some of these words in. Okay. I can add some of these words in, and when I add some of these words in, it should pop this up some. It's funny because it says pricing. I may actually throw a pricing section on this page directly. If you look here, again, I got a lot of green here. I'm off here on the word ranking. I'm off on the word analytics again, because I didn't put analytics in the page. Off on visibility, and I'm off on the word online. So I'm not very far off the mark. And as you can see, the content topics didn't change much. Overall, this page is in far better shape to be ranking on SEO or Houston SEO than the homepage of the website. And that is by design. I think if I go in and add 1,000 words to this page kind of goes back up and was back in the top 10. So I think that's really what has it pretty much the most off on it, is that it's just doesn't have as many words. So these numbers are a little bit low, and it's not sending the full set of signals. All right, let's take this seemymed.com. I got a 90-year-old that lives in my house. Maybe that'll help him. My medication management. But you said this was an app, right? The word pharmacy is no good. Polypharmacy is no, well, I'd have to look, but these are too broad. They're not truly pointed at medication management. I'm going to go with, but I don't know that I think they're the words that are going to make you money. We're going to have to go back at that in a minute. Let's see how bad this is. Notice I'm very positive. I shouldn't have said it that way. HTTPS. It's going to be seemymed.com. All right, let's see what this one comes up to be. My guess is most of you are all going to be short on words. You're going to be short on keywords. I taught a small class this morning, and we had a beauty consultant, and the word was not makeup, and beauty salon, even the word beauty was spelt wrong because that's part of her brand. Didn't have the right words on the page. I don't know if my friend at Queenly is here. That website was missing pretty much the main keyword on the page, which is why we went ahead and did this class tonight. Because if you're missing that much of the page, yeah, see, look at how far off you are. You have 154 words on your page. And the leader, before I look at anything else, the leader has 1155. And let me say this about that, okay? Google is not in business to rank your website. They are in business to provide the best possible set of information about something to its end user. If you only write 154 words total, there's no way, no how that they will ever rank that ever. So that is so low that it's basically a blank page to them. So I really have to say that's really bad. Are you taking medication on time? See med, see it, take it. Okay. And then it's all about an app, and there's 154 words here. Google's not ranking this website. There's no, nothing to it. Okay. The other thing I'm going to say is while we're talking about 1,000 words a page, I'm also going to say you need 100 pages for your website to rank. Now, before you all freak out, understand the blog post usually generates about 5 pages all on its own. So that number is not so unattainable. Now my website has about 800 pages on it because I'm always adding to it. I add this class to it. I add my talks to it. I add events to it. I'm always adding to it. So our website is a pretty vibrant website. We have a podcast. We have all kinds of stuff. And that's kind of what you should be going for here. But when I have a website that has no words on it or something along these lines, and I'm not picking on it, what's interesting is I don't even know that I see a brand or a logo on this thing. And the problem with this in this day and age is that the end user and the discriminant user is going to be a little bit unsure of where they're going. Now, you said to go to MetaSafe. Okay, now let's look at what the difference is between your website and MetaSafe. Okay, it's like night and day. All right, so if you took theirs, and I'm actually going to take your thing here and I'm going to do what I said I wasn't going to do and compare one against the other. All right, see, it says patient omni-channel problems, web, text, mobile. I mean, all it doesn't do is come to Thanksgiving for your holidays, it looks like to me. So it's when it lets you know when patients skip, they're likely to skip, what's going on. I mean, this is a pretty robust application. I'm assuming yours is just starting out. Is that, if I had to guess? Let's kind of just throw this back on in here. So you see we have 154. Let me make sure this med thing is not on this list somewhere. No. All right. This is interesting. I know you have the wrong keyword because we're pulling John Hopkins. So that's really not the right keyword. So let's see what the right keyword actually is. So you have another problem here. Let's see, what do they say in the keyword is? Digital health platform advanced. Are you sure this is the same thing you do? Because this sounds like it's a platform and it does a whole bunch more stuff than what I'm thinking yours does. Let me go throw this in here though, because I don't think medication management is probably the right word, but let's go with it. We'll let it figure that out. Does anybody else want to see theirs and give me the keyword that you think's attached to it? I'll tell you whether it's a good or bad keyword, and if you want to, well, and you know, that's the thing. You put medication management, it's a medication reminder app. That's the difference, right? So let's remember I told you using the right keyword is really super important. Well, medication management versus medication reminder, I bet you that's a world of difference between the two. Okay. So let's do this. Medication reminders. And that's 2,900 searches a month. And it's devices, applications and stuff you can buy on Amazon. And the other one you said was medication management. And that's 8,100 searches a month. But when I look down it, it's talking about John Hopkins, Oak Street Health, a video of medication management. It's given me a whole bunch more different things than an application that helps me remember to take my pills. But let's see what it gave us as an answer. So they have 1,117 words versus the average of 1,155. They have one header. The world has one header. They have 19 subheaders. The world has 9 subheaders. They have 4, 0, so on and so forth. Their relevancy score is 73. The rest of the world is 150. And they got a whole lot of red in their keywords too. So they didn't, because I think the term really isn't medication management, it's medication reminder. All right, but if I come down here and see, this is why this is so important. This is a great example of having the wrong keyword involved, and then trying to do for the wrong thing. Remember, I told you 7 orders a week versus 25 orders a day. Huge difference. Okay, so I'm not going to encourage to pick the wrong keywords. You guys got to pick the right keyword. And what I'm going to say is I've been around small business owners now for 20 going on 28 years. Okay, I also am a small business owner myself. And anybody that knows me pretty much in real life knows that it's my way or the highway. I am not somebody that suffers somebody telling me what to do well. Okay. That went from my parents as a child to me as an adult and as a business owner. It's just there's maybe a handful of people at this point, probably one person, and that's it, that I will let tell me what they think I should do. And it's not because I'm closed-minded. It's because I have a lot of experience in this. I've made a lot of, and most people tell me stuff that I tried 5 years in the past. So I'm saying that up front, okay, as I'm about to come out of my head with what's going to come out of my head. You guys can pick whatever weird words you want to pick. I got no problem with that. But what you won't have is results. So if your objective is results, you have to listen to what I'm telling you. I normally would say, you guys know your business better than I do. But taking this medical application one, for example, I can see right off the bat that the words are wrong because I have medicine, medication reminder, which is a good one. I've got pharmacy, polypharmacy, patient, healthcare, and medication adherence. Now, medication adherence is probably a term used by the doctor themselves. Now, let me, let's see. See if I can do this. I think I need to stop that. I need to come back over here a second. Let me come back over here. Share my screen over here a second. All right, so when I'm here, I do when I do medication reminder, which I think is at least a better starting spot. Pill reminders, another one. See, pill device reminder, devices for medication. Medisaf app is the top choice for pill reminders. So now what I'm hearing is this should be pill reminders and not medication reminders, but that's okay. Medication reminder websites, medication reminder website, medication reminders for the elderly. You see that this changes the entire complexity, and this is more on point with what you do than, and I'll put in medication management, but you notice there is no medication management in this list. And the reason why is because the right thing is pill reminder. It's not even medication reminder, it's pill reminder. All right, so let's just throw medication management in here just for friends. Okay, medication management 8100. You notice that it changes all the answers away from what you do to something very strange. It gives me a graph. Doesn't tell me anything about the MediPlace app that's our competitor. Then I have medication management versus psychiatry. So they're looking at the management of something versus they're looking at the medication management versus managing bipolar meds for psychiatric outcomes. You can see that now. Nice guidelines on medication management for adults. They're talking about the doctor managing your medicine. All right. They're not talking about pill management. Okay. Medication management near me, so that obviously that's a place that people go to have their medicine managed. All right. So you can see why that's a issue. I've got medication management partners. That sounds like a bunch of people. I got training for that. I've got nurses for that. I got a worksheet for that. Related keywords, mental health and medication management. Now, what this may be is a byproduct, meaning that, and I'm gonna kind of say this. So, like folks with bipolar, right? They sometimes they feel better, so they don't take. Well, and even me, whenever I take antibiotics, I feel better, and then I forget to go take the rest of them. Okay, so I'm wondering how much of this management thing is more, trying to manage people that don't want to take their medicine right versus an application. So I have like a bunch of strikes against me now on that website. I've got a website with no words on it, and I've got, it thinking that we've got the wrong words on that. Now let's go put in pill reminder. Okay, so now these are at least things I can buy to help me remember to take my pills. Here's the MediSafe app again, okay? So that tells me I'm back in the right place with this. All right, pill reminder chart, pill reminder for the elderly, pill identifier. I got pill reminder, pill box, reminder, iPhone, which is probably what you're doing there. The cost per click on this is pretty low. I got reminders for the elderly, pill reminder pro app, pill reminder app for download. Look, there's what we do. It's actually on the list. I finally found one that's on the list that says what we're doing. Now, granted, there's not a lot of searches for that, okay, because 0 is 0, but at least it must have had enough of a blip for it to make an imprint enough for it to show up, okay? So what I'm describing back and forth to you is how to balance between what you think and what really is. And I think that is the hardest thing small business owners do, because you guys want to tell the world what you do versus listening to the world and hearing what you do. Okay. It took me, I wanted to tell people I did site hosting. You guys told me I do web hosting. Second, I turned over to web hosting, I had a whole different company and a whole business structure difference. All right. So, you have to be willing to listen. And I'll tell you, those of you that know me for a long time, for a lot of reasons, I had a company that was SEO 411, and it's not in existence anymore. But what was interesting about it is one of the things that provoked me to look about getting a business partner added and doing some things on it is nobody knew what 411 was anymore. And I was like, okay, I could go, you people are stupid. What do you mean you don't know what 411 is? Everybody knows what 411 is. Or I could say, most of you are under the age of 40, and 411 was not anything for people under the age of 40, because you didn't have to call 411 to go find out what the number was for the pizza place. And you didn't have to dial 411 to go get the number for the Chinese restaurant to get your food ordered. All right. So I listened to what you guys were telling me, and enough people started telling me they didn't know what 411 was anymore. I changed my whole name of my company. So I did a whole lot of other things, but the bottom line is that the name of the company became problematic because it was dated. Again, it's listening versus just forging ahead and doing what you say you're going to do. And I have to say that sometimes in this class, I try to have the byproducts of the class not only be about SEO, but about lessons that business owners need to learn. And I think this is one of those ones that highlight this, because at the end of the day, I think small business owners need to be open and understand that maybe what they think is not necessarily the most correct, or that there's different ways for it to be done, that people will find you. In the class today, I had somebody say to me, that they just use their website so that somebody can validate that they're a real business. I'm here to say that your website should be a lead generation source for you. So if you put the right keywords in and you put the right words in, and you build a really strong brand, you will have leads from your website on a regular basis. I mean, that it really is that simple. Okay. It's time consuming. Don't misunderstand me. It has to be done right. And if it's not done right, it doesn't work right. I'll say that too. But you should be treating your website just as good as you would treat a employee, because they should be generating leads for you. And they're very, very warm leads. Let me tell you something, that by the time somebody picks up the telephone, you're about 80% through the sales cycle. And usually the only thing you may get hung up on is on price, and that what they can afford to pay for what you're asking. But by the time somebody in this generation, or this time, I don't even want to say generation, in this time frame, picks up the phone, 80% of your sales cycle, that sales already good as closed if you can get the price agreed on and there's nothing weird that you don't want to do business with them. All right, I want to talk about this one here from Sean Bell. It says event venues, private events, indoor spaces. So it sounds to me, Sean Bell, that you are an event place or event planner. If you want to give me a little bit about who you are and what that is, or your web address, I would like to look at that one, because you've done a reasonable job on an event business. It sounds to me like it's a space, not that it's an event planning situation. So I want to make sure of that, because if it is, then you've done a reasonable job on your keywords for sure. Um, so that, um, so that's a thing. Let me see. Let me see what else this is. Let me see. So you haven't put a web address up. Here's another one that says Freedom Tours. Oh, this is the tour lady. Okay. All right. So the first thing you got. All right. Okay. So you just started into putting it. Well, you got it going in the right direction. Your spaces should go together and your event should go together. So, I actually like the keywords that you've put up there. I didn't see that it said it didn't have the print on my computer's a little small. So I didn't see the part where you said you didn't have a website yet. All right. So let's look at, oh, that's not your Freedom Tours Houston. That's not you, you're saying. Let me go back over here. Hold on. Let me get out of there and we'll go to the next one. All right. Freedom Tours of Houston. The first thing I'm going to tell you, it's got no words. It's another website with no words. No, I got you. Freedom Tours Houston. Okay. So we got no words on this webpage to tell us really what you do. So that's a really big problem. All right, I'm gonna paste this in that other browser and put that in that other situation so we can see. You're missing a lot of words. Let me see if I'm in the right spot here. Oh, here's my on-page thing. Back to share the screen. All right. So if I come here, I'm gonna put this here and I'm gonna see. What I'm thinking is, guys, let's do that. All right, so what I used is Houston Tour Guide to look at this one. I want to see what the recommended would be on it and where we need to go on this one. All right, so first thing that should jump out at you is you got 200 words and everybody else has 1,800 words. That should be the very first thing that jumps out at you on this because, and I think that's the rookie mistake I see on all websites is that you guys put like this very, very small amount of words on there, not realizing that that's what Google uses to decide what your website's about. So if you don't have the words on there, they're not going to know what the website's about, and therefore you don't stand a prayer. Okay. So most of the average websites have 1,870 words on it. Okay. You have 235. And I don't, if I hope that I'm not hurting anybody's feelings with this because this is not, I'm trying to, kind of teach by learning here. Okay. So we have tour, city tours, Houston, experience, culture, history, and rights. Look at, we're missing all these other words. Now, granted, we're also missing 1,600 words, so it's not like, but all these words should also be somehow incorporated into this, so that we understand what they have. They're missing the word. We're missing words like itineraries and attractions and museums and landmarks and sightseeing, downtown, culture, you know, some pretty beefy sets of things going on here. We have Space Center Houston, some of the people have. Houston, I don't think Houston should be there, but I guess there's places people have that. I guess because of Space Center Houston, there's been in Houston, Texas, I can see that there. So we are missing so much on this that it's almost like you can't even really have the conversation. So you need to go back and you need to go back to your homepage and you need to start writing all these words into it to the tune of 1,300 and 1,500 words you need to come up with that talks about more. And look, I mean, let's be realistic. If you want to sell tours in Houston, you need to tell people what tours you're selling, right? You can't just tell them, we're going to explore the greater Houston area with expert tour guides. What do they expert tour guide? What makes them an expert? Why are you an expert in Houston? What kind of tours are we offering? We're offering neighborhood tours. Okay. And it says check back soon. We're going to offer, let's see what other ones we're going to offer. We're going to offer food tours. Check back soon. So you're setting yourself up with something like this you really need to start to get some pages put in here. Because, people aren't gonna do business with you just simply because this looks like I'm gonna give somebody some money and I'm gonna lose my money. The other thing that's not on this website is a phone number or an address. And that's a really big problem because there's a credibility issue going on here. And I'm not meaning this in any way, shape, or form badly against anybody. Everybody needs to make sure you have a phone number on your website. You need to make sure you have some manner of an address or a location or a city on your website. I mean, I know we're doing tours of Houston, but if this is run out of Dubai, I'm wondering why a website in Dubai is, or a company in Dubai is running tours in Houston. So by not saying who you are and what you are, you're going to put yourself in a spot that people are not really not gonna do this. I guess, and this is some kind of a show thing here. I mean, Houston's a great space. There's like so much to do in this city. I grew up in New York City, so I learned, I came from about the busiest, bustliest place in the world. Um, so when I look at this, I'm wondering, okay, what are we doing here? I mean, so you need to bulk this out by substantial amounts. Okay. One thing I wanted to show you before we get to the end of the night is I want to run to ChatGPT really quickly. And I'm going to go back to the home health lady, not to beat her over the head, but we have so much that we've done on this one. I want to look at that one. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I'm going to say this so that you hear me say this. You are never to cut and paste something out of ChatGPT. If you do, you risk having your website banned. Now, the good news is none of you have any websites out there really have a good, solid, positive presence with it. So you probably won't hurt yourself that way, or you won't notice you've hurt yourself. On the other side of the coin, you could do irrevocable damage to your website just simply because you went and pasted ChatGPT nonsense on a website. You need to be an expert. You need to be out there saying you're an expert, but ChatGPT is great for research. So what if I want to find out what I should do about something? I come here. So what I would do on home health care, I would say, give me the top 25 keywords or a home health agency in Houston, Texas. All right. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you the keywords that you should be utilizing based on what they are. So you can see there's some of the suspects that we have: home health agency, Houston Home Health Care Services, Senior Care Houston, home care services, in-home nursing home care or in-home nursing care, home health aides, skilled nursing Houston, senior home care. What I will say on the skilled nursing, because it is not home health care, what I would do is I would write an article that what is the compare and contrast the difference between a skilled nursing facility and home health care. Senior home care providers, personal care services, so on and so forth. I now have 25 keywords to go proof through my keywords everywhere and make sure that I'm picking the right words. So theoretically, you can use ChatGPT to help you build your keyword list that I told you you should have 50 keywords, right? I cut this one off at 25 because I wanted to see what it came up with. But I have, and what I might do is say, me 20 keywords for in-home senior care. And now here's additional ones. It's a little bit of a nuanced difference, but I think if you put these together, you're going to end up coming up with the right answer. So I'm strongly encouraging you to take these, but you're not going to use them the way they're presented. I think you need to run back through your through my process to go and pick those keywords and then take those keywords and run them through on page in something along those lines. Because the thing is that if I take home health care for seniors, I don't put a website in up against it and I just put this here. We're going to take this tour Letty website out and I'm just going to tell it, give me this, submit. All right, it's gonna give me the contents of my page. That's what I'm after out of this. So when I do this, I'm not looking at all this guts in the middle. I'm coming right down here to the bottom and say, what do I want to do? If my goal is my keyword is home care for seniors, all right, and I come all the way down here. Um, home care services help seniors maintain independence at home. Maybe that's what I want to talk about. It's funny because we're talking about medication management. Here it is sitting in the other person's website because it's talking about how to take care of old people, not how to use an app on your phone. And that's kind of where the paradox comes in from. Because if you gave my dad an app to run his medicine, yeah, I have little Alexa reminders set up for him to do it because that's the only way I can get him to remember to do it. But what's interesting to me is that the essential, like the suggested titles, essential home care for seniors, tips for living comfortably. And then they give you some of the topics that should be covered in this. Okay. It gives you some questions that you could use to start to write those pages. It gives you a lot of information to start to come up with and formulate what you need to do that. Now, I'll teach you another trick, okay? I can take what is home health care for seniors. Now, I am telling you right now, do not under any circumstances, under dire issue, use ChatGPT to write a blog post and put it on your website, okay? Do not do it. Again, you don't have to listen to me. But I'm here to tell you that if you do it, you got a problem. But let's do this. I'm going to say write a blog post on what it's going to tell me is what I should have in this page, right? What is home health care? It's going to tell me what are the services somebody would need. It's going to give me a lot of ideas. As the expert, I should be able to go, okay, I like this idea, I don't like this idea, and write these up in my own way, utilizing my own words, utilizing my own thoughts. Because at the end of the day, I have all of these pieces and all of these parts, but I'm the expert. It's what gives me the credibility. It's what gives me the credibility with Google. I would not utilize this in this manner, personalized care, family involvement. Okay, those are good points. Home care allows family members to be actively involved in the senior care plan. Okay, yeah, the family is the first line of defense in this. This is not the right way to say this, at least in my opinion. Cost effective may or may not be more cost effective to have a home health care person. When is it appropriate? I would not use the word appropriate. I would say something like deciding when home health care is needed. All right, because appropriate sounds stuffy. And the thing is, this may sound good to you, but it's going to sound contrived to Google. Okay. Um, So you don't want to sound contrived. You want to be an expert. You want to say what you want to do. And the other thing is never, ever, ever put a in conclusion paragraph, because the Chat GPT program, it in conclusions everything. You never want to get to the end and you're saying, in conclusion, home health care for blah, blah, blah. Forget it. Start and write like a normal human and summarize it out. Don't write like you're in fifth grade and you put conclusion and then put, in my conclusion, I say that home health care for seniors is compassionate. I would not, this whole thing right here would go right out the window. It's compassionate and flexible. Forget about it. All right. I would be saying something to the fact that when you look at all the expert aspects of home health care, that the ability to provide better care comes from the family. It allows you to be flexible and it allows that family member and to have some respite time. But at the end of the day, that all these flowery dignity, independence, comfort, compassion, flexible all sound like a chatbot. So I would not be utilizing that. I would be writing that for myself, by myself. Um, and then look at this last line. This post can serve as a resource to help families understand the various. Forget it. You don't say things like that. All right. So I don't want you to get caught up in, oh wow, this sounds better than I could ever do. You need to do it yourself. But if you look at what it's doing, it's giving you, define what home health care is to you. Provide the types of home health care services you provide, not what ChatGPT says you should be providing. Usually home health care provides medicine, it provides IV services, PT, it'll change hoses. I mean, there's all these, and companion care is not always home health care. So you need to decide what your business does and do it, but at least this gives you some attributes to this. All right, I got one last one and then we're out for the night because we got to close the room at 8 o'clock. All right, what's your keyword? You didn't give me a keyword. I can't check anything without a keyword. All right, sleep is not a keyword. After all of this, sleep is not a keyword. Now, what do? You do sleep studies, or do you sell pillows, or what do you do? Okay, so you're an advocate for sleep health. All right, let's put sleep health in. That's not a keyword either, but we'll have to go. That's the thing. This tool is only as accurate as your keyword research. Did you do any of your keyword research yet? Because I can't really do it at 7:57. Did you look at any of this? I think you should send me an email. Okay. Send me an email once you figure out what the right keyword is, and then I'll run this through for you. Okay. But I can't do it the way you're giving it to me because you can't do the word sleep. All right. Does everybody understand that? It's kind of like doing the word shoes. You can't do the word shoes. All right. It's just so broad that and actually you don't want to rank on the word shoes because it's one of those words that has no monetizable value to it whatsoever. So, all right. So that's everything I got for tonight. Does anybody have any other questions before we cut out for the night? Yes. Okay. Ask the question. Now, freedom to protect sleep is, or for protected sleep. I don't promoting freedom for, I don't even know what that is. I don't think protected sleep is a thing either. What is that? All right. What's the other person's question? Kids for sleep. Where the hell's the URL? Freedom to sleep. Yeah. I don't know why you're not free to sleep though, and I don't know why somebody would be looking for this. Yeah, I don't know what, yeah, we need to, yeah, okay, so let's see, discover freedom and recover keyword drug abuse. That's a proper one. Okay, the sleep person, you're gonna need to call us or something because I cannot wrap my head around what you're telling me. I don't think that Google is gonna know what to do or think sleep is unprotected. So we need to come up with the right path for you as to where you're trying to go. Um, you're very welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to help. We'll be here again next month. I don't really know what my topic's going to be for next month yet. I haven't really thought about it. Um, but I will think about it and uh, that's a wrap for this week's Internet Marketing Clinic. We'll see you next week. Thank you.